My name is Gillian Szollos, and welcome to our passive house. So what inspired me to take on this momentous journey? Getting older, having the kids all leave home, wanting to downsize. And my husband and I thought about purchasing, but we really couldn't find what spoke to us. We wanted to be in nature. We wanted to be quiet. We wanted somewhere where we could garden, hopefully one day have grandchildren running around. I needed a pond. These were sort of on the bucket list. And it became pretty obvious that in order to get what we really wanted, we needed to build. And then came the discussion about whether we wanted to build something that was a traditional build, maybe upgrading insulation a little, or whether we really wanted to bite the bullet and go the passive route. Now, my husband and I have been in building for many decades. So that wasn't something that felt out of reach or overwhelming. But why we really decided to go with a passive house, and specifically the design that we created here, was because we did not want to worry about what ifs. We wanted simplicity. We wanted to not have to worry about rising hydro costs. We wanted to know that we could heat the house with a hairdryer in the winter. And really my bigger concern was how we were going to keep it cool in the summer. And that's really why we designed what we designed and exactly where we designed it. It means we can live close to nature. It means those worries about those increasing costs as we get older and as our income comes down, as we move into retirement, hopefully will be lessened. And we really wanted to make sure that things like we didn't have a sump pump. We wanted to have a slab foundation. We didn't want to worry about losing power. So we have a full generator backup on this home. If the power goes out, we don't have to worry. Those were the things that made us kind of lean towards this particular model as well. I need light. Newsflash, as you get older, your sight starts to go. And I need, 40,000 lumens everywhere I look. So floor to ceiling windows sounded like a really good plan to me. We downsized, out of a 3,500 square foot, 2-story full basement home that we'd been living in for 30 years and had probably 2 and possibly 3 generations worth of stuff in it. And the clutter is overwhelming. The older we got, the more we just wanted to simplify everything. The things that are important to us is what you see behind me. It's nature, it's quiet, it's just spending time with our friends and family, and not the stuff. So getting rid of that was actually very freeing. And when I was designing this model, I was a little concerned that we might be short on closet space or storage space, but we really went into it with the decision that we were not going to require that space, because if we had it, I know it's going to accumulate stuff, and I'm just over stuff. Not interested anymore. As long as the kitchen had enough storage and we had a decent bathtub in the bathroom, these are the things, where we get our joy and where we have our family meals, and that's what was important to us, not how much closet space there was. We have enough, but our rule was, if it's going to be in a landfill in 5 years, we don't buy it, period. And we really are only buying anything that is going to last the long term. And moving out here, the things that are, important are the plants that are in the ground, and, the pond that I swim in every single day. That's what gives us the most joy. We don't need to have mega space that's just more room to collect clutter and to clean. Not interested in that either. I feel like we have enough space here that the things that are the most important to us, which is family, they can experience it. They can come, they can share. We can have huge family meals out here in the screen porch. We can have our family Christmas and Thanksgiving in there and seat 20 at a time, no problem. they can, my mother-in-law is going to come and live with us, and we can keep her close at the end of her life. And one of the reasons we designed this home the way we did is so that if a young family moves in here, they can use that ADU as additional room or as a master suite or as an office area. But if an older family moves in, they can have a younger family member in that ADU to look after them in their old age. And hopefully someone will come and move into there and look after us. So we will be able to age in place. We want my mother-in-law to have that experience, just as my parents did with us in our previous home. And we want to be able to have that experience as well. So we're setting ourselves up for no maintenance for the next 20 years. Touch wood. Hopefully, there will be nothing required in this home for the next 20 years. And at that stage, somebody will move in to care for us, and we will be able to live out the end of our days here. That's what we really want. We looked at solar, and what's very frustrating in Ontario is that there are incentives to install solar after you're built, but no incentives whatsoever to plan for solar or to build solar from the ground up with your main construction, which seems crazy to me. So yes, we set up for solar in the sense that we have a secondary panel out here that will feed an eventual barn that will potentially pick up from a potential solar array. We would not do roof-mounted solar because our roof is actually north-facing. We technically could, but it would be more useful to have a ground-mounted unit that could be protected from snow and hail and all of that kind of thing. So yes, but it just wasn't financially feasible. If down the road there are incentives to add that, then absolutely, we're ready for it. We're wired for it, and that was done, with a bit of forethought. So in our previous house, during our 30 years there, I think we had 3 floods as a result of our sump pump failing. And under no circumstances did my husband and I want to deal with a sump pump again, especially my poor husband, who's the guy actually handling all the issues all of the time. So we knew we were going to raise this house enough so that we did not have to deal with water issues. We were going to have a slab foundation. We also wanted to make sure that the septic was a gravity-fed septic. I did not want to have a pump up to septic because it's just another thing that can go wrong, another thing that needs to be serviced, another thing that is going to increase in cost over time. So we made the decision to raise the house up 6'8" above grade, which of course was going to require a ton of fill inside the foundation under the slab, as well as outside of the foundation to grade away from the house. So it was an obvious decision to dig a pond. We were clearing the land anyway. We had fabulous team in here with their excavator. Took about 2 days to dig that pond out. And the fill from that pond is going to be what is surrounding our home. So it was really ideal. And of course, ponds just bring so much wildlife and so much pleasure. I've always grown up swimming in lakes, swimming in, our family ponds on different people's farms, and it was something I really, really wanted. So to be able to look out of these big, beautiful windows out on that pond, 4 seasons is something I am so looking forward to. Already it has brought me tremendous joy. During the eclipse, Spencerville was in that umbra of the complete eclipse. So we invited our friends to come down and have a bonfire and celebrate the eclipse. And at that time, I had them spread seed and wildflower all around the edge of what was then a very brand new pit in the backyard, now our pond. So every time I walk it and I see those wildflowers, I just think of my lovely friends and neighbors from our previous home. And it's just a place that brings me a great deal of joy. We throw this term eco-friendly around a lot. I find it ironic that the color green is the most toxic color to produce, just from a marketing perspective. So, when I'm talking about eco-friendly. I don't even know that I'm coming to this build from that perspective. I'm coming to this build from the perspective of quality of life and quality of living. Not just my living, but the living of the creatures around us as well. I really feel that building a home that is not going to require a lot of upkeep or maintenance over the next 20 years is going to be the best thing for us. And it just so happens to be the best thing for, the environment as well. So I really think that it makes sense. We live in a northern climate. We should be living in homes that are better insulated. And not just better insulated, but better design. And I think that attention to detail around the design in passive homes is really what attracted me to this build. We could have built a conventional home and just added more insulation. But the design features, the orientation, the wanting to take in that passive gain, the needing to have the light, those things were important. And so, we made some trade-offs. We went with a smaller home, but our windows and doors are just absolutely fantastic. So I really hope I don't have to replace them for at least 20 years. I would say that this property is the home. It's more than just the build. It's where the build is. And so I think one of the most rewarding things for both my husband and I have been just to be here, just to be present and hear the birds, hear the crickets, hear the silence. That has been so restorative to us in our busy lives and stressful lives. And once you get to our age, you've got, adult kids who need you and sometimes elderly parents who need you. And there's a lot of things that pull. So having a place that is truly restorative is very important to us. Downsizing, decluttering, really important and leans into that ability for us to just restore. I think definitely getting the deck up was, and I know that's not the house, but the screen porch, getting the decks on and the screen porch really made it feel like home for us because our previous home had a big deck and that was something we loved so much that we really wanted to do again. One of the reasons we designed a small home is that we like to be outside. We want to be outside. We want to be, our home needs to be able to transition us freely inside and out 3 seasons a year. So definitely getting the roof on was a really big deal. Once we were kind of all weather tight, was really exciting. Oddly enough, the house looked really small inside before the interior framing went up. But when the interior framing went up, all of a sudden, and for me, because I designed this from scratch, literally, I used an architectural software and did all of the floor planning, did all of the 3D modeling. I've walked through this house in blueprints so many times that being able to do it real time was very exciting. I think one of the big exciting days was pouring the slab and then chalking out all of the space on the slab was a really big deal. I remember walking through the front door and one day you will come through this front door when it's in and you'll be able to see the view that you behold as you walk in through the front door. And I remember walking in and thinking, oh my God, I hope the windows fit. Because the window holes were so huge and this massive floor to ceiling light. I was just thinking, please God, let them have measured correctly. But they did, and everything fits really, really perfectly. I'm looking forward to spending my first night here. I am very much looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to having power in and having running water and having the water be potable. That's the thing that I'm really worrying about right now. But honestly, I think spending that first night here will be really lovely. We were hoping to spend more time just in our trailer over the summer here, but the weather has been so terrible. And we have 3 dogs, so 3 wet, muddy dogs in a tent trailer is not a thing I'm all that excited about. So I'm very much looking forward to the first night we can spend in our own home.